right. All right. So, we're going to... Oh, I'm spinning the wrong thing. We're going to try to just plow through these last chapters of Subbook 3 because I want to get to reading the next part. I don't want to spend so much time doing every little thing. But we have chapter 14 to kind of mention. I have some questions about Karsa. Is he, and this is going to be a spoiler. These are all going to be spoilers. All this discussion. But is Karsa like a Warren himself? Like his sword is one thing that is interesting and kind of becomes anyway. Like their souls actually chained to him in some way. He's not just metaphorically feeling the weight of people he's killed. They're actually following him, right? Something weird like that. All right, so in this chapter 14, it starts with Karsa meeting up with these wolves, this Ryland Daris or whatever his name was. Treach's friend or his brother or whatever it was. And he's like, you better not mess with this guy up here, this duo up here. At least one of them, he will kill you and kill everyone. And of course, we get there and it's Icarium and Mappo. Now, I didn't really catch on that Icarium was going to be that he was a half Jagged, mixed with what? Toblakai? Who knows? I guess that. Yeah. So now I'm wondering about some things. Very cool, because I thought Jag just meant pure. Pure Jagged, right? It's really interesting that in this book, there's so much to do with pure one way, pure the other way, and then something in the middle. Because also, it's not even about the race of people. We also have kind of pure chaos and pure order, and then something in the middle. And it's interesting that... it's interesting that the crippled god would represent the imperfection. I don't think that's pure chaos in the same way that the whirlwind goddess. Man, there's so much that I just learned in this book. Holy smokes. Okay. I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm going to try to fly through just to get to the revelation-y kind of things that show up. Yeah, they show up. Mappo and Icarium have their little clash, and surprisingly it doesn't kill Karsa. He survives, but his weapon is toast. And then Mappo kind of cheap shots Karsa in the head. And they're on their way still. They find that he had uncovered this statue with 7 hound heads, which is cool. But I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about these divers and things and the soul taken, and I wonder about them, about the Hounds of Shadow, sort of. But I don't know what to think there. Are they actually hounds, or are they one of these kind of divers sort of thing? Okay, keep going. So we can skip through some of this. I thought this is interesting about the rebellion. I underlined this on page 617, right in the middle. Odd, then, that this rebellion had nothing to do with such inequities, that in truth it had been little more than a struggle between those who would be in charge. So often, we have these battles in this. And sometimes it's against a certain force or against a certain tyrant. But in some ways, it's just a battle against tyranny at all, and a battle against, in some ways, just who's going to be in charge. Who wants to be in charge? People marching on Rome because they want to be in charge. Just, I thought that was interesting. They go to Karsa keeps going. Man, this Jag Odin. I wasn't excited to even enter this place. I have found it super interesting. Anyway, he's still going. Karsa. He finds these elongated barrows, which to me meant long, like really long, tall people buried there. But we find that these are Jagged half-bloods, probably, and these barrows have been desecrated, and we have this Talan Imas head that's been shattered, I think. And we find, a lot of stuff has happened here. Talan have been passing through. It's like it's just happened recently, unless I'm thinking of that as the Imperial Warren. I get confused about a lot of this stuff. I promise I understand it while I'm reading it, but in expressing this on a video to you guys, it's so hard, especially for a first time reader through it. Like, I'm really setting myself up to step on a whole bunch of landmines and get everything wrong. I'm glad people have had the patience to while I'm talking to people who've read the book, and I'm getting all this stuff wrong. But anyway, I thought it was cool. A shaman has been buried here. The passage westward into yeah, I'm just highlighting stuff to keep me on track. I mean, and we find the Trell are kind of west of that, I think. Hood has been here. And he is not very happy with Karsa because the people that leave him, or the people that he's killed, are bound to him, bound to Karsa, and Hood can't get there, can't kind of claim them. Which makes me think he is his own keeper of souls, sort of Dragnipur sort of dude. Which, what happens when he dies? If he dies. There's this interesting part. To cast off the enemies linked to Karsa and like offer them to Hood or whatever would be also to do the same to his friends that are linked with him. Which I'm starting to really like these friends. Even though they're kind of more ghostly, apparition-y friends, and now they don't really talk because they're in a big fat stone sword. This book has been so awesome. All right, we're now at the border of that dream-worldy Warren. Oh, and I can't do all this. We figured that this renegade group of Talani Mass have been through here. Maybe they're the ones that put this slab of stone on this other Jagged, full-blooded Jagged, who's found here, who she just messed up this whole group, and then one scout left, and she knew they were going to be back. We find out lots through her. That, yeah. What is your name? Aramala. It's so cool to see these. I love the passage of time in these books, and just to think that people are just trapped instead of killed. A lot of these people are just trapped where they are, which thematically, that's very cool as well. Okay. So he makes it to this cave where all this flint work has. I don't know. Do they call that slag? Like flint that's been. I can't remember. And he finds it. his bone dudes, his gods wake up, and he kind of calls them out. He's like, "Hey, Talani Mass, you dummies! I did what you said." And they're like, "What? How did you know that we were that?" He's like, "Listen, I'm a Treblor, but I'm not an idiot." They're finally freed from this, from what this ritual did. We find this one of them is kind of the one who led or wants to lead these children who have been offered Spartan style at the seven faces for ages. And now there's this army that's supposed to be there for Karsa's army, and they want to make him this eighth god, and he kind of rejects that. Instead, he makes a sword out of this awesome, like a really long one, that even like surpasses the skill that a Talani mask can use to make these swords. Then Bayroth and Delim kind of drip into this sword, putting their own kind of essence into it, which I love. And then, very, very cool. And then we finish it that finding out for sure that these guys, like I guessed, are working for the crippled god. And they want him to be the Knight of Chains in the house of the crippled god, which I like that. I was kind of shocked. I thought maybe he was being groomed for something like that, because now we have the Knight of Death, Hood's Knight. We have all these different ones. We have this Knight of Chains, which obviously is a dangerous dude. That's an understatement. But he's going to be used for some things. And I want someone on the inside of the house. I feel like someone on the inside of the house is going to be ultimately what can break those chains. So I'm just maybe the end of the series, because it's the crippled god is the last book. I know that. So maybe my guess or prediction is that Karsa has to be, I don't know, there's going to be a lot more that goes on and a lot more people that get brought up. But my prediction is he's right in the center. He's a key person as well as Perrin, but now he is a key person in the conclusion, I think, of this series. Just like I think Perrin is, he is. I mean, Quickben's super smart and stuff, but he doesn't have that same position. I would say that those two especially are right in the prime. They have an interesting role. I'll say that. Okay. And is Bayroth still alive? Because we're finding, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. We're finding that people who passed through this Talan fire are kind of changed, but he was dead. But is he kind of alive again? Okay. So, chapter 15. This is where we're with strings. They find these people that show up hardened. They have these streak kind of tear tattoos in kind of almost etched into their skin. And these were ones who had come to kind of fix that. It's like they grieve constantly to fix the fact that they left the chain of dogs, I think, temporarily and were going to come back. But when they did, everything had already happened, and they're just grieving for that. They want to make that better. About 300 of these former Wiccans, I believe they were Wiccans. I have it in front of me, but I didn't highlight everything, so I can't remember everything. But that, let's see, 300 join to pledge allegiance with Tavor, but specifically to Temul. And I love that because he now has someone. There's the rest of the Wiccans who are giving him a hard time. Hopefully, we'll see this and give this Timmel his due. I love that. I love that they go and they give allegiance to Vord, but really they offer up their sword and whatever. And now he's leading them. Okay, so we have also this moment where there's this large dog kind of passes, and Captain Kenneb has been watching, and we think that it's a special dog because Gessler helped it. I don't know if now that he has this iron kind of skin, that just means that he has this kind of power, this healing sort of power. It wasn't Denewel that he went into, but obviously there's something special about this kind of fiery realm, his pass with the Talan realm. That's what it was, right? He kind of passed with the Talan realm, had some stuff happen with that, and so that's why he's super cool. That's right. Maybe you can fix me if I'm on any of this stuff. You can fix it as long as you are sure that it's not supposed to be a spoiler of something I find out later. Okay. So, lots happening. Yeah, we figured that dog is maybe looking for Coltane, who might have been reborn, of course, into a young boy. Maybe he's having a little silver fox situation going on. That would be very cool. But I haven't seen him yet, I don't think. And they're on their way back into Rurarku. Fiddler is. And I'm wondering, that makes me think there's also these songs that bridge burners hear. This song, this Tano song that they hear when they're on the outskirts of this whirlwind. Just it's bringing them in. I don't think anyone wants to go back in there, but they hear this song, like a siren song, bringing them in. And I want to know what the heck happens when they are in there, because I want this sanctification of the Tano song more than I can possibly even tell you. That's one of the things I want more than anything else in this stinking series. I've had lots of things where I've been excited for, but this is something that I really, really want. Hold on one sec. I can't even tell you how much I'm excited for both Callum and for Fiddler to get in. I want the bridge burners to be back in some way. That's what I want. Okay. Let's see. We get back to and then Fiddler is kind of sick of he can't believe, and it's interesting. Sorry, bringing him back, and we think about the whirlwind. We think about the whirlwind and what kind of siren song even that seems to be. And people are just changed when they're inside of it. I think it's interesting how it just is bringing people in, bringing people in certain parts of their journey. Certain things kind of bring them in, which is very interesting as well. Anyway, he's thinking, well, maybe I could be a mason again or something and get rid of. I don't want to be in charge of these people. I don't really have the stomach for that. Maybe I can do something else. Become a mason. Okay. I wrote all over this one. Right. There's this moment where he's looking at Nil and Nether, and then suddenly all these butterflies swarm around him. And I'm thinking how this also is very similar to what happened with um, Callum. Callum entering uh, the whirlwind. These bridge burners are kind of coated with butterflies and with whatever Callum was coated with. Can't remember. Kind of like hugged by this demon thing. But Fiddler's told, uh, go to Raraku to find him, and slay the goddess to free Raraku. Do we know who the goddess is? I can't recall if we know who the goddess is. Maybe we find out soon or later. Because we found out some. I don't think I know who the goddess is. Anyway. Okay. Yeah, I really don't know. Okay. So that person who told that, that was Sormo Enath. Da 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 da. I mean, he's been changed. Okay. Sorry, I'm. Oh, yes. This voice that they are hearing that's pulling Fiddler in, saying Bridge Burner, Raraku. Why I say Raraku. Raraku waits for you. Do not turn back now. We are awakened. He will find you. You must slay the goddess. And it says, we are awakened. Yeah, that's not Sormo Enath, like Nil and Nether think. It's like, it's got to be the bridge burners. It's got to be the bridge burners. Right? Seems like Raraku was not yet done with him. Okay. There's this. The Tavor and them come to this river of blood. Like they have these sacrifices so that when they go in, they go through this blood, and everyone's like, "That's nasty." But I guess it was a nice thing that people did to kind of welcome them in. Welcome, potentially. And Tavor's like, "Get me some sappers and blow the heck out of this area, and give us a place to cross, or something like that." But that seems like a bad omen. Walking through blood into a whirlwind. Doesn't seem like a good omen. Okay. Let me keep going. Shoot. Yeah, they get to the city of Uberid, and they see way in the distance. They finally see it. They finally see the wall of red of the whirlwind. And then this is the first time where we think it's brought up right at the end of the chapter that there could be spies in the whirlwinds. It could be spies in Tavor's army. Remember, the whirlwind has, or the Felicin has gotten word from Genabacchus, has gotten word from these places. Who is working for her in Tavor's group? Okay. We get back to Icarium. Oh no, Iskril Pust and Callum and Margora. And they need to find a way, or Iskarl Pust needs to find a way to get Callum in without really the whirlwind knowing that it's Callum or a bridge burner that's come in, because it seems like they are kind of at the core of a lot of this. It's going to be like a misdirection. She'll feel the puncture wound into the whirlwind, but won't necessarily know what's going on. A massive shape kind of hugs Callum, the Azalan, and then pushes him through. Right? I think. Okay, so we have. Oh, I don't even remember this scene. We have Apsalar and Cutter, and they are going to be on their way out from this drift place. Hall, who was with Cotillion and them, is recognized as one of the ones with the Malazans. She was with this traveler person for a while, and she was a Talon. So clearly, there's more of these Talons around. And what are the Talons up to? That's what I want to know. So now Cotillion is giving Cutter a new mission, and that is to go take down or assist in taking down the Master of the Talon. They take, anyway, we have this thing with Shadow Throne and Cotillion. I think I'm going to skip some of it. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this. See, this is why you have to go back in these books. Or else you're just going to miss stuff. We find that this traveler, we know about Dancer and Kellenved, or Cotillion and Kellenved, as being kind of these two peas in a pod, but there was a third, like this triumvirate, and Traveler, who now has this sword, Vengeance and Grief. Please say I'm getting that right, as far as who this is. Was also there. He was also there. He's one of these three. I didn't even know there was supposed to be three. But now he guards the throne. And again, Crocus wants to do the stuff that Cotillion is saying. And Apsalar's like, don't go down that path. Don't go down that path. I'm also very interested in Lestara and Pearl's sort of situation going on. Pearl does this ritual to find the path, and this earth spirit kind of shows up and says there was a terrible incident here, and I was killed at that incident. It's crazy how I can go through this and forget so much, and it just comes back to me as I'm flipping through it. We know that this diver's Grillin suffered a horrible death here. There's these heaps. Man, I can't remember. Shoot. I'm named Clam, and I died a terrible death. Is one of these potentially the... I'm still waiting for the Night of Death. Still waiting. Still waiting to see maybe where he died. It's got to be in one of these fires, right? And this guy who's dead here and talking, faint sounds, is basically meant as an undead porter to Grillin. Man, this is confusing. This whole chapter was confusing to me. This is where we find that Hood was here. Hood himself was here. Came to take this man. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm such an idiot. Yeah. Came to take this man. This is Bowden. So Bowden might be alive. Right? Hood takes this man, not just his spirit, but body and all. Which is very cool. That doesn't make Bowden the Knight of Death. I'm so curious what the heck's going on. Okay. So they figure that Felicin and Haboric, they're on their trail, and they figure that they must have gone into the whirlwind and are with the whirlwind goddess, but not figuring that Felicin would be at the head of all this. All right, so let's get to Onrak, who used to be, I love this part, he used to be a bone caster. And we finally find out what he did. He painted a lewd picture of Tool's sister while he was married in this sacred cave, a day before the ritual. And it got him cast out because he is married already. And he gets met with her when he's in, like, he has a crush on her, on Kalava. And she might have met up with him at night, spent a night with him before they both went their separate ways, before they both get kind of tracked. And, you know, this thing he did, it like immortalized Kalava in this sacred cave. And his wife is not very happy with him for doing that. Who the heck was his wife again? See, I feel like I'm like right there on something, but I can't. Hopefully I circled that. I don't know. I probably did. Okay. Right. And then Onrak is would like to go and have vengeance on these renegade agents who he's been tracking, but now he is tied to Troll. So if Troll would like to go do that and join the renegades, sorry, not take vengeance on the renegades, but take vengeance. I might be getting that so wrong. I thought getting vengeance. I don't know. That's why it's so hard to read these books sometimes. As I'm reading it in the moment, I'm understanding it, but I'm such an idiot sometimes. Going back, I need to figure that out. Eventually, I'll go back, but I don't want to spend this whole time doing that. Or someone can fix me. That's on page 673. That last part of that conversation. Let's see. They find these weapons that they'd go to claim them. Am I getting that right? Dang it. This might be the worst video. Oh, yeah. So it says he trapped Kalava in time by doing that. I would object, the Tist Eater said, to this notion of being doomed to repeat our mistakes on Rack. And no lessons learned? Does not experience lead to wisdom? I love that in these books there's always these two opposing sides, kind of working for the betterment. But at this point, at this point, it's so interesting that he's wandered and he's done this cycle. Onrak was silent for a time. When memories, he wants this solitude in the sacred caves that lie ahead. Then he says, when memories have returned, Troll Sengar, Solitude is an illusion, for every silence is filled by clamorous search for meaning. You're sounding more mortal, Charles says. Flawed, you mean? The Tistidor grunted. Even so, you look at what you are doing right now, Onrak. He's returning home. Man, I love this Onrak dude. I just like the Tist. I like these I keep calling the Talan. I like the Talan I mass who break from the group for some reason. Okay, and then the last of this chapter, we have the Tist Leozin, and they are trying to find the Thieves of Fire, which makes me think, did the Talan I mass, is the reason they have that power of their Warren? Did they steal it from the Tisleozin realm, or you know? And they are on their way to find the Maker of Time, Icarium. Find him for some answers. Then find the Thieves of Fire and stop the assault on their Warren. And I'm all here for that little that thing going on over there as well. I got so excited. Now, last chapter, and I read this last night. So Karsa making his new weapon, which is imbued with Bayroth's irony and Delamford's fierce loyalty, which I like. The Warren of Talan has found your sword, just like Gessler's skin. And now he doesn't wield this wood sword. He wields this stone sword. Now the seven are free of the ritual. He basically says, if I find you again, it's going to be bad for you. I love this. Perfection is an illusion, Sybil said, the one who kind of collects these kids. Thus mortal. Yeah, okay. I got to get this right. Perfection is an illusion. Thus mortal and immortal alike are striving for what cannot be achieved. Our new master seeks to alter the paradigm. Karsa Orlong, a third force to change forever the eternal war between order and dissolution, between yin and yang. To kind of worship this imperfection, this gray area, which seems like a slippery slope to just going to chaos by degrees. A master demanding the worship of imperfection. This part's cool. At the part of 682. You were the Teblor's unseen chains. And you, woman, Sybil the unfound, you were the taker of children. Imperfect children, Karsa Orlong, who would otherwise have died, and they do not regret my gifts. No, I would imagine not. The regret remains with the mothers and fathers who surrendered them. No matter how brief a child's life, the love of a parent, and this is true, the love of the parents is a power that should not be denied. And know this, Sybil, it is immune to imperfection. So cool. So cool. The themes in this, especially regarding the crippled god, it's just so well thought out. Okay, he attacks Sybil and is going to take her head with them. And the rest of them, and as he's leaving, yeah, he doesn't want to go with them because all they offer him is a new set of chains to be in. Remember that other thing that they fought, the rebellion, they keep fighting chains. They keep fighting for new leaders, but then it just devolves and they're just fighting for a new set of chains. So I think Karsa has to be at the center of breaking these chains for a lot of people. But I think probably Fiddler and Callum are that in a sense as well for whatever they're going to be doing in Raraku. Okay. And as his on his way out, he kind of smacks into Troll and Onrak, who are heading to find this cave. Okay. And they find that they have the seven have fled. All right. Okay. Okay, so he gets to this edge of the Jag Odin, and he names it Bayroth Delim, gives the land their name. Sees these wolves in the distance, and sees this figure that awaits him in this circle. And I believe this is this guy, this other Jagat, Sinigig, and he's been hiding in a box that looks like a rock and knows all about Karsa. Knows that probably news has gone back to Karsa's old people about him. He's been hiding in a chest. This dude. Been hunted by the Talan and stuff. He has this interesting line where, it's not a rule that Jagat can't use other warrens, that they have to use the Omtos Falak. So he uses these other ones to get away from things. Talks about the cycles that happen within the Jag Odin. There's this never-ending ignorance. But he tries to keep away from it. He's not bothered by how much he's kind of been separate from other people. He's missed out on a lot. They find this tree, which has engulfed this other Jagat. Or was she a Jag? This same tree that Ikariam keeps talking with. And every time he shows up, it's been so long that he doesn't remember that he's had this conversation before. And he keeps wanting this heartwood from her to make his little time things. I want her to give it to him. I want to see what he can do. And then he keeps in it's like a bargain. I'm not going to give you that, but I'll give you some of my sticks here so you can make some sweet arrows. And then she calls these horses, these Jag horses. And, right, her whole thing. Sorry, let me talk about her whole thing. How she is was impaled as a kid, mother dead, and then her impaled in place, in an Azath or Azath house, and that makes things really interesting as well. I still am not totally sure what I think about these Azath or Azath houses, but yeah. So they call these horses. This was so exciting. This is where I stopped to make this video yesterday, right before this. They call these horses, and they can smell, kind of like this nostalgia, how smell is such a powerful thing. They can smell the blood oil that they haven't used for generations and generations and millennia probably. They can smell it in Karsa, which makes him have this familiarity to him. And I love, because he's there to find a horse, I love that he doesn't take the Alpha this time. which seems so unlike what Karsa would do. Instead, he takes this other one who's trembling a little bit and gives him the name Havoc, which was his dad's horse, his dad's horse's name. I can't wait. I hope his dad is still okay. I hope his dad's still alive and gets to see Karsa come back, but not come back as a psycho, which could happen. I love this part. And then once he chooses the horses, the horse, the alpha does its scream, and they all scatter. Okay. And they recognize that the seven that work for the crippled god are close by, but they are scared. They are scared of Karsa. Isn't that so cool? And we get to book 4, which I haven't read one page. How would you like me to do this? Do you want me to give just a reaction for each chapter as we go? Or just a reaction once something big happens and a little recap? It doesn't have to be formal, flipping through these pages, but I am so excited to finally be at the final act of this book. And I have some predictions I think I could make, but I want to wait till I'm done the book. I mean, I have some predictions for what's going to happen. I still think whatever Callum and Fiddler are up to is going to make some big thing with the bridge burners. I still don't know if Karsa is going to go from here to, he wants to go back and rule Genebacus. It sounds like he's going to go and take it over. I don't think that's happening right now. I think he must be going back to the Whirlwind. I think he gets some kind of revenge for Felicen, and Felicen probably takes off with him. Heboric we haven't seen for a while. He's been floating in outer space, so to say. Crazy book. I've liked this in some ways as much as Memories of Ice. But yeah, I'll see you on the next video.